Welcome to Penrith Park for the match of the round with second place Canterbury taking on the Penrith Panthers. Penrith's top 5 aspirations will be under pressure if they can't win today, and coach Phil Gould has pointed that fact out to his team, in particular the front row. On the other hand, Canterbury would like a win today so they can go back to the top of the premiership table. Here's the Penrith team lineup with David Fordham.
Well, thank you, Billy. With Greg Alexander out, Steve Carter reverts to fullback. Brad Fittler moves to 5'8", from 5'8" to the centres, and Graham Bradley comes into the centres to partner Chris Mortimer. It's a big day for young Ben Alexander, the 18-year-old younger brother of Greg, who today makes his first grade debut. For coach Phil Gould, Chris Mortimer, Peter Tunks and Peter Kelly, they line up against their old club, the Canterbury Bulldogs.
So now let's check out the Canterbury-Bankstown team and David Wright.
Well, thanks, Billy. And Canterbury-Bankstown have been the surprise packets of the 1990 Winfield Cup, losing only one match in 8. Two obvious reasons for their success. Firstly, the solidarity brought about by the appointment of club stalwart Chris Anderson as coach. And secondly, the minimal injuries bringing about continuity of team selections. Their side, Alshin at fullback, Robinson, Farah, Corcoran and Nissan the 3/4, Lamb the captain, McGrady the halfback, and the forwards, Langmack, Darren Smith, who's a outside chance for Queensland State of Origin selection, Dunn, Pay, Thomas and Gillespie returns from injury.
Referee today is Mr. Bill Harrigan, and gee whiz, we've got a big breeze coming down behind Penrith in this first half of the match. I'll check conditions very shortly with Tony Durkin, but I can tell you it's definitely coming from somewhere where it's cold.
Yes, straight off the Antarctic Circle, I think, Bill, the coldness we've got here today.
So young Ben Alexander kicks off here for the Penrith side, and immediately the ball taken back there by Robinson. He'll run it up to just short of the quarter line. He's going to be put down by Royce Simmons in the opening tackle of the match. Well, I noticed Royce Simmons today saying there's apparently talk down here, a bit of pressure on him retaining his A-grade spot, so he's well and truly going to be into it today.
Well, Phil Gill's read the right act to a number of his experienced players, really the whole front row. Peter Tunks there was marking up, but he's not the one penalised. It is for actually inside the 5 metres as Bill Harrigan goes back to line up with that position. Now, the penalty wasn't for this particular action of Tunks because the referee would have awarded the penalty right on that spot. You can see him pointing back to the 5. Wasn't happy with Penrith's 5 metres, and Canterbury-Bankstown, even though they're against the wind and won the toss, do find touch inside Penrith territory.
Talking about that wind, Tony Durkin touchline, it's pretty brisk.
There certainly is, Billy. In fact, Fordo drove us down today, and I think he's overstepped Penrith and taken us to Canberra. It's absolutely freezing down here. Good conditions out in the middle, though, as that sun is still bathing the ground, but I'm sure later on it's going to be pretty cold out there as well. The breeze coming from the south behind Penrith in the first half is very strong indeed.
So working around the ball there is Alchin. He'll go to the ground about 30 metres out from the Penrith line. Coming up as dummy half is Terry Lamb, sends it outside to Joey Thomas. Ball going to be knocked back over there by Corcoran. Or has he knocked it on?
Yeah,
he has.
Just dragged it forward as well, Bill. And there's plenty of feeling in this match. Of course, Phil Gould, now coaching Penrith, was the coach of Canterbury-Bankstown last year and the year before.
Bill, already we've seen a bit of a clash in the centres between Chris Mortimer and his old Canterbury teammate Andrew Farah.
Yes, well, there's clashes going on all around the place here today. Penalty coming up now to Penrith.
Canterbury-Bankstown not standing back the required 5 metres from the base of the scrum, and Penrith now with a chance to go on attack.
So they'll kick for touch, and I should imagine they'll be doing a fair bit of kicking, although you've got to watch it. We noticed in the reserve grade a very strong breeze and the ball would really fly downfield.
That's right, Bill. They're going to have to be careful that they don't just knock it straight over the dead ball line, but there's a huge advantage in this first half. Penrith will be looking for a half-time lead.
And if you're wondering about that reserve grade match, Penrith won it by 24-4. So now it's Penrith with Kelly getting up to play it. Royce Simmons in there as dummy half to Alexander, then Mortimer.
There's a fair bit of family resemblance there, Bill, between Greg Alexander and young Ben.
Not wrong. Taking it up is Tunks. Not much resemble. I don't think anyone could resemble Tunksy, could they? So now back it comes over there to Brooke Kennedy. Simmons from dummy half again, works it the other way. This time it's John Cartwright. Cartwright pulled down 25 metres out now from the Canterbury line. Final tackle coming up. And they swing it around over there to Carter.
Has actually charged down the kick and therefore restarted the tackle count. Penrith in possession.
They certainly are. But the defence coming up fairly swiftly, but they've got a few tackles to work with here and get up into a very strong position. That's Kelly to the quarter line, but the defence very strong. Coming in underneath is Gillespie, who returns today after a leg injury. which was sustained in the State of Origin match where he was a very big thorn in the Queenslanders' side. That's Royce Simmons. Swings it away, Alexander. Outside to Cartwright. Cartwright is put to the ground on the tackle over there. Quite strongly. Final tackle coming up. Kick high in the air by Fittler. He's following out after it, but it's going to be taken back there by Alchin. He's immediately pulled to the ground over there by Steve Carter.
Good work from Alchin. He got in good position under the ball, but really Penrith did not come through to contest the ball at all, and ultimately allowed Alchin a fairly easy take.
So it's Canterbury content to just ruck it out at this stage, deep down inside their own quarter. Ooh, there's a high one coming in from Cartwright on that occasion. Warned on the run, but now he's going to pull it up.
Yeah, Bill Harrigan hasn't missed it. Gillespie gets up with a smile. If the hit had been really given as a full stiff arm, certainly a very high tackle. In actual fact, I think the league need to look very closely at the leniency shown by referees in recent weeks. This season, referees have been happy just to penalise for high tackles. I can remember a couple of years ago that would have been instant dismissal.
Alchin comes onto the mark to take the tap. Here's Tony.
Well, there was a report around the ground this morning that David Gillespie went into this match carrying a fractured cheekbone. I think all doubts about that were just dispelled in that incident.
Certainly were. That's Darren Smith getting up to play. He's 8 metres short of that halfway mark. And Canterbury just get to the halfway mark now. They're coming back over in centre field. Taking it up over there is Langmack. They've lost it. Alchin picks it up, keeps it going now. 2 metres inside Penrith territory. So at this stage, it's no points on the board here.
Yes, and just on 5 minutes of play gone in this first half, and the kick downfield for Carter. Remembering that Penrith are running with this big breeze behind them. And one thing that has stood out straight away in this first 5 minutes, David, is the amount of work that we've seen Jason Alchin do from dummy half.
Yes, he likes to get heavily involved. Canterbury-Bankstown play the game, utilising their halves, both Lamb and... well, also their halves as well, I should say. McGrady, Lamb, they like to use the little men. Alchin also. But here, Canterbury inside the 5 metres. Penalty game to Penrith.
So a chance for Penrith to move into Canterbury's attacking half. To all the penalties in the first 6 minutes of this first half. And Mortimer kicks for touch on the commentary side of Penrith Park. And as Billy mentioned earlier, icy cold conditions. But it's already warming up out there in the middle as Tunks takes it up against his old side, remembering that this fellow led Canterbury to their last grand final victory back in 1988. Cuts out Vandervoort and gave it to the former Bronco, Brooke Kennedy. Right on the centre of the quarter line. Ideal attacking position for Penrith. They move it to Alexander, to Carter. Good hands by Alexander. Mortimer has the pass knocked back. It's picked up by Smith on the far side. He makes a meal of it. And finally, Lamb and also Corcoran come through to wrap him up in the tackle. Just inside Canterbury's end of the ground as Kelly takes it up. Reeled out of one tackle. Taken finally by Paul Dunn. Simmons goes to dummy half. First receiver will be Colin Vandervoort, who has been forced into the second row with great form by Brooke Kennedy so far in the 1990 season. There's Bradley, one of the late inclusions in this side, but a seasoned first-grade footballer. Now the kick from Carter. That will be too deep. That really is the influence of that strong breeze. And it goes dead in goal, so play will come back to the quarter line for the restart of play.
Poor kick, that one from Carter. It releases all the pressure.
0-0 here at Penrith Park.
From the Carphone Telecommunications Group comes an extraordinary offer. A return trip for 2 to the USA free when you buy a Carphone, a PABX system, or a phone system. Never before has there been an offer like this. A return trip for 2 to the USA free when you buy a Carphone, a PABX system, or a Keyphone system.
And ask about faxes and computers too.
The Carphone Telecommunications Group. The best prices, the best range, and the best reason to buy. Phone now.
Hey, check that out.
What?
That's what's his name.
Oh, so it is.
That guy you were talking to at the party last week. I didn't know he had a sports car.
Actually, it's a Pintara TRX, a sports saloon. He said it's got a big engine, sports suspension, viscous LSD.
Yeah.
He said the seats were really comfortable.
The new Nissan TR X-Rated Pintara for adults only.
Oh, Betty.
That's my car.
Never before did a road tyre owe so much to a race tyre. Directional Ducaro from Goodyear.
Imagine this man's finger is your car's fuel injector. It sprays petrol into your cylinder and with your piston creates this explosion. But fuel injectors can clog, robbing your car's performance. That's why you need BP petrols with new detergent additives to clean fuel injectors, carburetors and valves and restore performance. BP, on the move.
This telecast of the State Bank Big Game, part of 10's 1990 coverage of Rugby League, is proudly brought to you by Goodyear and the Carphone Telecommunications Group.
And he'll place it on the mark. So it's 0-0 at the moment here at Penrith Park, as Canterbury take the tap with Dunn being wrapped up. Getting up into the tackle is Tunks and also Roy Simmons. I've been watching Simmons for the last 5 minutes or so. His work rate is pretty good. He's getting through quite a deal of tackling at this stage. Mortimer's calling for a bit of defence out wide because that's where Canterbury are taking it. So keep going. Alchin from dummy half. And the defence comes up to put Langmack down. Back it goes this time to Farah. Farah kicking into that very strong wind. And, oh, gee, it just landed just inside the touchline. In front of you, not far away.
Well, he judged it absolutely magnificently, Farah. There's no doubt about that. It's his testimonial year, and he's showing every benefit of that great experience. And into the wind, like the one that's blowing here today, that was superb.
9 errors from Canterbury so far, 4 to Penrith. As we wait for Alexander to feed the scrum. That is Ben Alexander, of course, the younger brother of Greg. McIndoe across from the wing. And eventually he's going to be pulled up. He's knocked Kerry Lamb down. He was hurt quite a bit in that tackle. Eventually it was Langmack to take him. The crowd thought that was all right.
Well, I think, Bill, what's happening there is that a lot of people believe that Terry Lamb has been very fortunate in recent weeks. He was the one who knocked Speechley to the ground. He also was very fortunate to get off a charge last week against Jeff Tuvey, and he's getting no sympathy whatsoever on a pro Penrith crowd.
Roy Simmons getting it back over there to Tunks. Tunks bumped away from the first tackle. That was the one of Darren Smith.
Bill, Terry Lamb does look at a fair deal of trouble out there too. He's limping quite heavily on that left leg.
Yeah, it was a very heavy bump as he went in to try to put McEnroe down. Here's the kick downfield. It'll be taken back there by Robinson. He runs it out. Fittler comes from one side. And from the other is Mortimer. They two of them combined to take care of him. Alchin away from dummy half. Saw McIndoe, thought, leave me out of that. I saw what happened to Terry Lamb. Here's Lamb with it again.
Well, he can hardly run, Terry Lamb.
So here's, that's McGrady taking it up, Tony Durkin.
Lamb apparently did get a hit to the jaw, but he also has a damaged ankle as well, and he looks very, very uncomfortable out there at the moment.
Here's a little kick through, coming up to try and get there. Penrith was Carter, but Nissen was the one to beat him to the ball.
Well, the play by Nissen, nothing beautifully by diving on it. Nothing else was going to happen other than, at best, a tackle. Instead, he knocks it on. And a second kick could have made a big difference.
That's Alexander getting it away to Fittler outside then to Bradley. Bradley's going to be picked up, driven back a few metres. They still haven't got him down. He's no chance of getting the pass away, though. Alexander from dummy half. Back it goes this time to Van der Voort. Roy Simmons, no points on the board as yet. Lost over there by Kennedy.
Penrith making the mistake of playing the game inside their own territory with a howling gale at their backs. They'd be far better playing Canterbury right on their own try line.
Well, I tell you what, I bet Canterbury are pretty happy they're trying to do that at this stage.
Well, what you do, Bill, in this sort of circumstance against the wind, we must remember Canterbury elected to run against the wind in the first half. They're just on hold. They're quite happy to see things happening the way it is, and they'll take advantage of it in the second half.
Particularly while Penrith are using the over the tackle, though. Van der Voort right on the spot. Final tackle coming up. So out to Terry Lamb. Swings it around behind him. Found Pay back there. A little bit unsure what to do. Puts it up. The wind will hold it up fairly well, and that makes it difficult for Carter. The ball rolling loose. Lucky to get out of it, I reckon.
But found an offside position. Dean Pay was forced well back. Actually, he was the last man for Canterbury after the pass had come from Terry Lamb. The ball there dropping through the arms of Steve Carter. But because Robinson was in front of the kicker and inside the 5, as Carter tried to take the ball, he is automatically in an offside position.
So it's going to be Mortimer to kick for touch. And the tap will be taken about 24 metres out now from the line. Over there by Gillespie. Simmons to dummy half. He gets it back to Alexander. And Brooke Kennedy eventually put to ground with it. This is Tunks. Tunks about 20 metres from halfway. Tackler was Joey Thomas underneath. Langmack over the top. Cartwright. But they're playing it right up the centre there, and the Canterbury defence will be quite happy to take it that way all day. Now it's back to Carter. Not the best of kicks. The wind's not going to help that one much. Elchin back there to take it. He starts to run it out. Came to McIndoe, then got his pass outside to Robinson. Dummy half waiting for it is Elchin. Outside to Farah. A couple of metres short of the halfway mark. Canterbury knocked from the top of their perch at the table with the win of Canberra on Friday night, so the couple of points today they'd like to get back on top here.
Paul Dunn there trying to just be a little bit too fancy. The pass knocked down, and then he's a kicker. They could easily have a shot from there. This is a very strong wind, and it wouldn't be too hard to find the distance.
Well, that decision will be going through Chris Mortimer's mind at the moment, and Roy Simmons. They're both having a bit of a chat, but Mortimer will look for touch on that far side. And they find it inside the quarter line, so this really now is a great opportunity for the Penrith Panthers to really raid this Canterbury line. Kelly was to be the first receiver. They spin it wide on the first tackle. It's Bradley that tries to step his way through the defence. Fittler up to play the ball. Out it goes. Cut right. And the good old-fashioned front row forward goes forward, but he's lost the football. And that really is a costly error by Penrith. They've taken the pressure right off Canterbury-Bankstown.
I expect both these sides to get very frustrated today. They play very similar styles. It'll be almost like playing yourself out there today.
Good defence by Penrith. Going for the ball and all tackle was Brooke Kennedy. Now Elchin with the pass away to McGrady. To Lamb, who seems to have shrugged off that ankle injury. Here's Farah. Great dummy by Farah. He's got plenty of pace. He's up over halfway. He didn't even look for the support. There were three players on the inside, but Canterbury's still on the attack. It goes to Langmack. Langmack got the pass away to Thomas. Thomas reeled out of one and took it to the quarter line. Nissen is the man at dummy half. Across, Elchin. Gillespie for Smith. Smith picked off in the tackle by Vandervoort. Quick play, the ball is required by the Bulldogs. On the final tackle, it's not a good kick. It's loose on the ground. Towed through by Langmack. The referee will wait for the advantage. And now he's ruled a Canterbury player offside, Paul Langmack.
And only from that very last kick, he's got them too. The ball was alive right up to that last moment. The second kick off the ground, Canterbury in front.
Great taste of Kentucky Fried Chicken? Try it in a burger. Tender breast of chicken, cooked with that secret blend of 11 herbs and spices.
I can't wait for the great taste of Kentucky Fried Chicken.
You can count on a Queenslander to never give in. You can count on a Queenslander, no need to say thanks. You can count on a Queenslander, just like you can count on their bank.
Hey, what are you watching? Oh, you should see this. You're missing some great stuff. Yeah? Who's winning? By the looks of this, we are. See? Hang on, all I can see is the ad. Well, with nothing over $50, I reckon we'd have to be in front. Now, that's the first winner you've tipped all season.
Just you, just me, just jeans.
These wines may look the same. Just as many insurance policies look the same. But there is a decided difference in quality. MMI Insurance. When you appreciate quality, you'll appreciate the difference.
Next week, the cold facts.
You're both living a lie.
But will Bev make the first move?
One of you has to find the courage to put an end to it.
The campaign reaches fever pitch.
He and Eddie have planned everything like a military campaign.
Playing the tackle card with 12 for Canterbury, and they're quite content to play this. It's enough for Canterbury. Robinson scored a fabulous hat-trick in that win over Cronulla just a few weeks ago. Now Alchin away for McGrady. Wrapped up right on the halfway line. Alchin again, moving it right-hand side. Taken up by Corcoran. 10 metres inside Penrith's end of the ground. They move it to Thomas. Back for Alchin. Alchin looking now for... Was it Gillespie coming through? Now it's out for Robinson. Oh, that's under pressure. Puts the kick into touch. So we're at the halfway mark of the first half, and neither side yet to break the deadlock.
It's a little replay. Robinson realising he was in trouble. It was the last tackle. Tried to get his boot to it, but change over to Penrith.
So they're in possession at this stage. 10 metres short of the halfway mark. Kelly is going to be met up there by Gillespie. Second tackle in a row by Gillespie. The last one was a shuddering tackle. That's Brooke Kennedy with it. Dummy half Roy Simmons, who's also got through a lot of tackling in this first 20 minutes of the half. Carter with it. Gee, a loose one. He made it difficult there for Cartwright. Canterbury will end up with possession. They'll get it via Farah, who's given us the only clean break in the match so far. That was a few minutes ago.
Yes, Bill. And finally here, Bill Harrigan has decided to ultimately penalise Penrith. They've been offside out in those back line for much of the match. He's been quite lenient, but has finally decided that he'll have no more, and Farrell will look for touch on the far side. I doubt whether he will go for too much territory.
So that would be a bad blue if he did go for too much, and that's exactly what he did. He found touch well and truly, and I'll take the 10 points. None at all on the board at the moment. Brooke Kennedy, who got a bit of a bump in the tackle. He's still down on the ground. So Alchin keeps it going. McGrady trying to slip through there, but the gap closed very quickly when Peter Tunks appeared on the scene. So Lamb sending it away to Alchin. Alchin with his pass outside the match.
Well, we said earlier, Bill, that the little men do good work for Canterbury-Bankstown. That's exactly what happened. Terry Lamb out of the dummy half position, held the pass, drew the marker. Alchin straight to the fullback, looks for support, picks it up nicely. There's big Paul Dunn. Good little work, good little men on the inside, creating the opportunities for the big men on the outside. Alchin into a yawning gap. Dunn supports nicely. Busts through the tackle of Carter. That's a fine Canterbury try.
Yes, tremendous play by the little men and great finishing by Paul Dunn. He was a Kangaroo in 1986. He'll be looking for another tour at the end of this year and possibly a spot in an Origin side in Melbourne in a week or so's time. He comes up with his first try of the 1990 season. Bill, 3 Men of the Match awards he's had so far in 8 rounds of the Premiership. He's been in outstanding form.
Yeah, well, he was Johnny on the spot on that occasion, and that's a good start by Canterbury. He's got through 13 tackles in the match to date, and it's only been going about 23 minutes. So here's Terry Lamb attempting to convert the try. Lamb has racked up 46 points so far this year from 2 tries and 19 goals. So he's just about back onto his mark. He'll have that wind blowing across the kick. He's on his way, and that one is okay. Well judged by Terry Lamb. So Canterbury open up a lead of 6 points to 0. So it's Ben Alexander to restart play, and that one dribbles down over to Langmack, who tries to scoop it back behind him. Eventually coming away with it is Darren Smith. So Canterbury looking pretty good at this stage, but that's 6 point lead. Dummy half is Jason Alchin again. He worked away to Smith. Rather pay it is. Smith back a little bit. Matter of fact, he's holding his shoulder at this stage. Tony Durkin.
Sure, Bill. And Darren Smith with the ball now. Darren Smith on the run. Back to you.
Hasn't slowed him down. He's up to the halfway mark. He's got plenty of support. He looks inside. He finds Terry Lamb on the spot. Lamb turns it away to Alchin, and he's taken in the tackle. 25 metres out now from the Penrith line. Nissen's in from the other wing to come up as dummy half. To Lamb again getting involved. But the tackle of Fittler comes in over the top to take care of him. Final tackle, back over to Langmack. He tries to kick it up. It's charged down. The ball rolls loose. It'll be a Canterbury ball, and there's another 6 tackles. It was Dunn who ended up with it. Back it comes over there to Pay. Dummy half is Alchin. A chance for Canterbury to put on more pressure. They lead by 6-0. McGrady gets it across to Andrew Farrer. He works his way back inside. Still going is Farrer. Eventually bowled over. So now back to try scorer Dunn. Straight up the centre. Tunks comes in over the top. There's no chance of getting that pass away. And moving up as dummy half now is Jason Alchin.
Canterbury on the boil, blind side. There's McGrady angling it back across the face of goal. Taken by Fittler beautifully under pressure. The chase was on, and this young 18-year-old youngster just took it so calmly.
He certainly did. Took it right up on the fingertips. Great confidence from Fittler. Good kick from Ewan McGrady.
So plenty of variation in the kicking game for the Bulldogs. They lead by 6 points to 0. And Peter Kelly runs it outside the quarter line before he's met in the tackle of Joey Thomas. Working open side with Tunks. Thomas again over the top as Gillespie goes low. Now it's Vandervoort. Dunn wraps him up, ball and all. Very predictable so far, Penrith. I would have anticipated they may have used the kick a little earlier in the tackle count. It goes back now with Carter. There's the kick downfield, angling it towards the touchline. It's a good-looking kick, but it will stay in the field of play. Alchin fields it right on his own goal line and did very well because he was under pressure of McIndoe coming forward and also Brad Fittler. Oh, that's a dreadful pass from Robinson. It put a fair bit of pressure on McGrady. It would have put a fair bit of pressure on the heart of Chris Anderson as well, the coach of this Canterbury side.
David, it's taken 27 minutes for Penrith to put in a decent kick downfield and see what it's done. They've got him under pressure.
Yes, their kicking game has left a lot to be desired, and a penalty there, not clearing the ruck quick enough, Brooke Kennedy.
Well, rules are quite explicit. Brooke Kennedy there with quite a bit of blood coming away from the face, but the rules there state that you must clear that ruck area immediately. Kennedy not able to do so. Obviously suffering from that head knock. The penalties at the moment 5-4.
And Andrew Farrer looks for touch and finds it about 8 metres out from the quarter line. The tap restart will be with Jason Alchin. And I would say that Canterbury would be very, very happy running into this breeze. With a little over 12 minutes of play remaining with this 6-0 lead. It's been pretty disciplined stuff from the Bulldogs.
It certainly has, Fordo, and interesting the decision to run against the breeze. I think in the old days most sides elected to run with the wind in having won the toss, but a lot of Sydney sides now elect to run against the wind, and I think the fact is that they're all super fit. They think that no matter what in that first half they can suffer a little bit of loss of territory in the first half, but it's in the second half when players are getting tired that it's hard to make territory against the wind.
Tony Durkin, is it still at the intensity as it was at kick-off?
Certainly not, David. Not nearly as strong that wind as it was before the game started and in the early stages of it, but it can come again, of course, later on as the sun goes down.
Well, that was a splendid kick using that corner effectively by Canterbury, which gave Carter not much angle to work with, and he's pinned down 10 metres out from his own goal line as Fittler takes it out and he's driven back. That is fabulous defence from Dean Pay. That's the sort of tackle that lifts his side. Very committed stuff, and they've turned the football over. So Canterbury with a great attacking chance. Thomas exploits the blind side for Robinson, and he goes for the corner. Kept it back in the field of play. The ball controlled by Farrer. Back for Thomas. Here's a chance. McGrady. McGrady for the try line. Can he get it down? Yes, he has. He's now scored 3 tries.
And onside the ball now. McGrady has a great step here. Really of Penrith losing the ball inside their own half. Canterbury have immediately replied with a try. Sign of a good professional unit, realising Penrith were in trouble. Thomas, look at the pass up here to McGrady and the step. Ron Fuchs Carter, and then a bit of extra strength as well to brush through some tackles right on the try line.
Yeah, tremendous play by Canterbury, and he can put it down to that first hit by Dean Pay, the subsequent hit by Paul Langmack, which turned the ball over. And as David said, a sign of a very good side. He can strike back immediately like that. And McGrady, in his first season in Sydney football, Brooke Kennedy leaving the field.
He was the fellow who lost the ball on that very heavy tackle.
Terry Lamb, 1 for 1 so far. 48 points for the season for Terry Lamb. And he brings up his 50th for the year. And it's 12 points to 0 to the Canterbury Bulldogs.
So the heavy he has been replaced. A couple of knocks he's had. As a fresh reserve, he's still on the bench, and I think that just confirms what I think we all think, that really Mark Dyer is still suffering from that groin injury.
Yes, he's had a lot of trouble with it this year, and he was in total doubt, and to sit him on the line under those circumstances, obviously they don't feel as if they're going to have to use him at all.
Canterbury making the same mistake Penrith did. Let's see if Penrith can also capitalise.
Righto, coming up, it's a dummy half is Simmons now.
He's
lost the ball, but a penalty going to Penrith.
There must be a penalty here, stealing the ball incident, and 2 points on offer. I think Penrith, even though they're trailing 12-0, should take the 2.
Well, Bill, it appears that David Green will be playing in the fullback role, which may suggest that Carter has gone up into the lock forward role. Or maybe Chris Mortimer.
Yes, we'll watch and see how that one works out as they get things together. Meanwhile, it's going to be Chris Mortimer to have the shot at goal. So at this stage, just under 7 minutes remaining in the first half. And the Canterbury lead is 12 points to 0. Mortimer should be able to change that just a little bit. There it goes, over it goes. So now it's Canterbury leading by 12 points to 2. Here's the restart of play with Andrew Farrer about to get it going for Canterbury. David, interesting to note, missed tackles. Penrith 12 and Canterbury-Bankstown 10, despite that 12-2 scoreline.
Yes, Penrith have missed just a couple more, but really they've made some errors. I think the biggest mistake, Bill, they made is exactly this, and that is not kicking immediately here. The opportunity is to make 70 metres with a kick. Instead, they're having difficulty rucking it out, and really without any true benefits coming. A metre there really is meaningless compared with a lost ball.
Royce Simmons away from the dummy half. He'll be pulled down 30 metres out from the Penrith line. Vandervoort dummy half, so they'll swing it back this time. There's a kick downfield by Alexander. But it goes straight to Jason Alchin. So he'll be able to run it out from there. Bradley's in front of him, but he cuts across field. And eventually Kelly and Cartwright combine to put him over. So from the play the ball, it's Nissen came in there as dummy half. Found his other winger, Robinson, coming through. Dummy half away this time is Smith. He's going to be tackled by Carter coming in, and also Royce Simmons. Terry Lamb back over there this time to Pay.
Jason Alchin limping too.
He's in there as dummy half at the moment. That's Gillespie. And right on the halfway mark at this stage. So back we go now to Farrer. Farrer drives it downfield. And eventually coming around over there to pick it up will be Paul Smith, who decides to run it out and eventually put down 18 metres from his own line.
David, one of the important things we talked about, that error rate by Penrith, the crucial thing is that most of the errors they've made have been in their own half.
Yes, well, unusually, even with the win, they played most of the game there, and they really have only got themselves to blame. But you've got to hand it to Canterbury. Their defence is rock solid. They minimise their own errors. They've got an advantage of Andrew Farrer, who has got a very strong kick. Even against the wind, he can get a low trajectory and minimise the wind effects.
And the other thing about Canterbury, they really have capitalised on those errors to come up with 2 tries in the first half. There's the kick back for Nissen, who fielded it very, very well on that far side. Comes to Smith. And Smith bulldogs into the ground, 32 out from his own goal line.
Well, there's 2 kicks by Penrith, with the idea being right, but on both occasions they've been taken on the full. One by Nissen, one by Alchin.
Penrith have kicked on 11 occasions in the first half, but none to any great effect. Now Terry Lamb. Seems to be moving quite strongly now. He's also kicked 2 goals from 2 attempts, which would suggest that that leg is okay. Gillespie with the quick play of the ball. Away goes Thomas, the one-handed back in for Smith. Smith got it away to McGrady. McGrady threw the dummy, but Tunks didn't take it. And he throws him to the ground just a couple of metres short of the halfway line. So 3 minutes of play remaining in the first half. Alexander put pressure on the kicker, and he did it effectively too. Play on, says referee Bill Harrigan. 6 more to go. And I don't think the crowd were too impressed with that.
No, well, the interesting point there is, was it a charge down or just a rebound? The referee deciding it was a charge down, therefore a touch, and a restart of the tackle count. All players back on side.
So Canterbury take it beyond the halfway line. Alchin to dummy half. Away for Dunn. Good ball, that one from Langmack. Langmack tries to back up again, takes it back on his side of halfway. And that's where he will play the ball. So 12 points to 2. The Bulldogs in the lead as they try to wrest back the competition lead from Canberra, who looked in such great touch in Perth on Friday night in that match against Manly Warringah. So on the final tackle, it's Thomas at dummy half. Lamb decides to run it on the final tackle. Got it back with Thomas. Good backing up by the hooker. Got the one-headed pass that goes loose on the ground. It's been towed through further by Langmack. And it's a Penrith ball. David Green 10 metres out from his own goal line.
Second time that Canterbury in this match have elected to run the ball on that 6th tackle, and they've caused Penrith quite some trouble.
So young Ben Alexander resented the tackle, a little bit of Terry Lamb. Van der Voort knocked over by Smith and Thomas. And again we see Penrith camped in their own quarter. Fittler. Again it's Simmons. Runs out of dummy half, through the dummy. That allows Fittler to go to dummy half. A poor play the ball by Simmons. There's the kick by Alexander. That's a better looking kick. And it bounces at right angles to find touch. 32 out from the Canterbury line.
It won't do Penrith too much good with only a minute to go up to half time.
Splendid kick by Alexander. The bounce didn't favour Nissan on that far side. So 12 points to 2 into the final minute of this first half. Darting run by McGrady, trying to exploit that short line. So I'm sure, David, that Chris Anderson would be elated at the way that Canterbury have handled the conditions in this first half, control the football, and they have really applied all the pressure.
Yes, they certainly have. It's been a very professional performance by Canterbury, what we come to expect of them, a very mechanistic side, and they play with great discipline.
Well, they've only suffered one loss this year. That was a 2-point loss to St George. They had the draw up at Townsville with Eastern Suburbs, so they were within 3 points of a perfect record under Chris Anderson this year.
Well, there's a very poor play the ball. The machine having a bit of trouble here, the Canterbury machine. Last chance for the Panthers with seconds remaining up to half-time.
Well, they may not even get time to get the scrum feed in. Will they use the kick straight away from the scrum? They decide to spread it wide. There's the kick in general play. Now, how good's the chase? The ball will probably beat everybody. It will go dead in goal, and so that is how the first half ends here at Penrith Park, with the home side trailing by 12 points to 2. Canterbury have done it well in the first half. The question mark is, can Penrith come back in the second 40 minutes? We'll find that out on the other side of this commercial break.
Okay, ready for the start of the second half of this match. And it's going to be Farah to kick off for Canterbury-Bankstown. That wind has dropped a little bit, but conditions are certainly still very, very cool out here at Penrith Park. And we'll just see now what Penrith can do running into that wind.
Well, they're going to do it tough, Bill. I think Canterbury's tactics in the first half were excellent. They valued possession. They endeavoured to try and play the game inside Penrith's territory, even against the wind. And rest assured, Canterbury will kick far better than what Penrith did in the first half.
Tony Durkin down there on the touchline. Anything to report at the half-time break?
David Wright is spot on. They were the orders sent out to the Canterbury side in the second half. Chris Anderson says you don't have to score again to win the game. That doesn't mean that they're going to be negative at all, but they certainly will use this breeze, even though it certainly has dropped in the second half at this stage anyway. From Penrith's point of view, Phil Gould has told his players to disregard the scoreboard. He's told them not to panic. They only need to score 2 more tries and they're back in this game. But my mail is, believe it or not, at half-time he did not mention their kicking game at all.
Well, there you go. Maybe he doesn't believe in it.
Well, there are some theories that coaches should look for the positive things that come out of the half and not the negatives. But certainly in this second half now, Penrith are still going to have to concentrate on kicking, even though they're against the wind.
Paul Dunn making quite a bit of headway on that occasion and not really expecting to get the ball. So now it comes back to Farah. There's the kick downfield by him. Back there is Green. Green's going to take it. Plenty of Canterbury players to come at him, and Paul Langmack is going to be the one to put him down, just on the quarter line.
Bill, the interesting statistics in the first half in the defensive department. Total tackles, I feel, are very interesting as we get a bit of a break here by Vandervoort. But total tackles, Penrith have made 104 to Canterbury-Bankstown's 94. So you've got Penrith actually doing more tackles, even though they had the wind with them. And there you see the top 3 tacklers, Royce Simmons, I should say, Kennedy, who went off, Vandervoort. Dunn also tackled very well for Canterbury.
That's Fittler getting up to play at 12 metres inside Canterbury territory. So this is Kelly. Kelly to no one, rolling on the ground, and it will eventually be a Canterbury ball with it. Yes, it is. So they'll get up to play with Robinson on the far side. Back on this time to McGrady. McGrady to Farah. Farah cutting up the centre. Got out of one tackle. That was the tackle of Carter. Still going. Gets it away this time to his winger, coming through nicely in Nissen. Nissen switches it back the other way, and in for the try is Smith, but no, it's not. It's called back towards about 10 metres from the halfway mark.
Well, incredibly so. Bill Harrigan has got the pass from Andrew Farah to Terry Lamb as the forward pass. Nissen was the support player. So was Darren Smith. Andrew Farah's having a great game today. The pass there to Nissen, well, looked okay to me. I can't believe Bill Harrigan has decided that was a forward pass. He's the man with the whistle. He's the only one that counts. And Penrith off the hook.
Never at any stage, Bill, and I think there was even a semblance of a forward pass watching it in live time from our commentary box.
Well, there you go. In this time by Alexander. He's going to be wrapped up, put down about 4 metres short of halfway. So the Canterbury lead is 12 points to 2. And taking it up this time is Mortimer. Dummy half Simmons to Cartwright, then outside to Kelly. Kelly losing it in the tackle. It'll be picked up by Dunn. Quickly swings it away. Thomas, then outside to Lamb. Lamb right over the top to Robinson. A little bit of room to move. Coming at him over there is Smith, and Smith's going to put him down with a bit of help coming in also from Carter. So Canterbury putting on plenty in the opening part of this second half. Farah again, by golly, he is having a big match today. They've got him high in the air. Now there's going to be a penalty.
The referee had called hell there, and a couple of Penrith players, one Cartwright, carrying on with the tackle. There's a bit of feeling in this game right from the opening whistle, and it has not let off in the second half.
So now Terry Lamb says we're going to have a shot at goal. Took a little while to work all of that out.
Yes, well, it was a pretty tough decision, I think. They can get it back to a 12-point lead and then perhaps look for a field goal if they get this particular penalty. The other option was they are on a bit of a roll here, and a kick in a touch could have also led to a lot of pressure being placed on Penrith. I think the big thing too, Bill, with the advantage of this breeze, I would think Terry Lamb will at least put this ball dead, and in doing that, at very worst, would force a goal line dropout by Penrith.
So he has the ball placed.
I should say a 22-metre dropout by Penrith.
And is moving back onto his mark. Terry Lamb. 50 points up so far for the season. It's on its way. It's there. It didn't get up terribly high, but it did enough to get over. So Canterbury move out with a lead now of 14 points to 2.
From the Carphone Telecommunications Group comes an extraordinary offer. A return trip for 2 to the USA free when you buy a Carphone, a PABX system or a Keyphone system. Never before has there been an offer like this. A return trip for 2 to the USA free when you buy a Carphone, a PABX system or a Keyphone system.
And ask about faxes and computers too.
The Carphone Telecommunications Group, the best.
only been guilty of 3 errors in this second half. And the hotline.
Greg Alexander is doing the running for Penrith today, and he's the one getting messages from coach Phil Gould.
For Bill, while Canterbury have only made the 3 errors, the Panthers have come up with 10 in the second half. They can ill afford to do that with a scoreline that reads 14 points to 2 against them.
And I think they better get used to that side there too, with Andrew Farrar driving it down. Now Green's come onto the field as a replacement player. He's back in fullback, and I think he's not going to get a lot of money today, but he's going to earn whatever he gets.
You're right, Bill. He has played reserve grade as well, and he's going to do it tough today.
So they've kicked on 4 occasions. Canterbury 2, Penrith 2. And they've only had the wind up here, Canterbury, for about 10 minutes. So from the scrum, it's Alexander getting it away to McIndoe coming around over there. So back to Carter. Carter runs into Dunn and also Lane Mack. And under those circumstances, it's pretty hard to keep going. That's Tunks with it now. Royce Simmons up as dummy half. This Penrith crowd starting to get behind the local side. They want to see them do something pretty soon as Fittler sends it away to Bradley. Bradley dummies, nice work. Up over the halfway. Looks for inside. It's got to be lost over there. And Canterbury come away with it.
McIndoe was supporting on the inside of Bradley. That's big. Graham Bradley made the break. Now watch McIndoe. Takes it on the fingertips, loses it, and then gets crunched by Andrew Farrar. And you can see the blood coming straight from the nose of Alan McIndoe.
So it's Thomas getting it across to Lamb. Outside to McGrady standing wide, looking inside for support. There was no one there. He had Corcoran outside, but couldn't get it away to him. This is Nissen.
Indications are the game just starting to open up. The first half was very tight. There's Alan McIndoe, and you can see the blood there coming from the face. And that man there who's kicking the ball now was the offender.
This one goes straight to Green back there in the fullback posse. Starts to run it out. He'll get away from Dunn. Doesn't get it. Yes, he gets away from Smith. Third go at the tackle will be Dean Pay.
Definitely the game's starting to open up now, and both sides looking to throw the ball around and create opportunities out wide.
Well, that's good, because here we go now again with Alexander sending it away. This is Fittler. Fittler gets away from Farrar. Lamb's coming at him. He doesn't get away from Terry Lamb. Nice piece of cover defence to put him over. McIndoe to dummy half. They're up almost on the quarter line. Here's Alexander again. Away to Carter. Carter dummy, then send the pass at the last minute and put all sorts of pressure over there on Peter Kelly.
Bill Harrigan here playing the advantage rule to the last moment. He's caught Canterbury-Bankstown in offside position, did not blow the whistle until he realised that Penrith could not clear the ball. I thought both their halves made a mistake there. Alexander and Carter did not stand and deliver. There was a chance to get an overlap. They both took a couple of paces, and in doing that allowed Canterbury to come up quickly.
Royce Simmons just waiting, or giving his advice across to what to do as captain of the side, so Vandervoort takes the tap.
I'm surprised they didn't go for a penalty, Bill. There's still a long way to go. 27 minutes and they're down by 12 points.
Simmons gets it back to Tunks. Tunks trying to fight his way through. And he's up to about 4 metres out now from that line. Simmons away from dummy half. The ball rolling loose. Another penalty to Penrith.
Well, what happens here, Bill, is that Canterbury will just keep giving penalties away because they know Penrith aren't going to take the shot for goal. It really gives them a licence to stand offside, do whatever they like.
Alexander tried to find his way through. Simmons sends a loose one across field. Kelly picks it up. They lose plenty of ground on this occasion. Dummy half is Vandervoort. Slips away from there. Sends it back to Cartwright. Cartwright props, but Langmack's there to tackle. He gets a pass inside to Fittler. Fittler close to that line. Can he get it down? No, he can't. He's just held back. Dummy half is Alexander. The ball knocked back, and it'll be another penalty.
Well, what Bill Harrigan should do here now is start sending players to the sin bin.
Cartwright has lost the ball in the tackle, has he? Yes, it's a Canterbury ball.
Poor refereeing by Harrigan. I think he's allowed Canterbury just to dominate that part of the match, even though Penrith went very close to scoring 3 penalties in a row. Canterbury have said, well, look, if you're not going to have a shot for goal, we'll just do whatever we like.
So Alton comes up as dummy half. Back it goes over there to Dean Pay. And McGrady. McGrady works his way up to the quarter line. Canterbury's lead is 14 points to 2. Alchin again. Ooh, back over there to Robertson, charging his way up. Both Robertson and Nissen, 2 wingers, like to go looking for work.
They do, Bill. It's the way Canterbury play the game. They use all 13 men wherever they can.
Here's the kick downfield. Beautifully taken on the full over there by Smith. Smith will run it up, and Terry Lamb puts him down about 8 metres from the halfway mark. Bradley, the dummy half. Crowd starting to boo Terry Lamb, holding him down on the tackle. This is Green.
Watch here, Bill, that Canterbury won't be as keen to give away penalties in this part of the field because they are then giving away territory. When you're on your own try line, if a side's not going to have a shot for goal, you give away nothing.
So Penrith on the halfway line through Alexander, giving it away to Peter Kelly. Got the pass away. It's Alexander. And he's taken about 8 metres inside Canterbury's end of the ground.
Just seeing him come through there, Alexander, a lot like his brother at times, isn't he?
Oh, it's incredible resemblance. 7 years the difference. And if he's anything like his brother, he's got a great future to look forward to. Final tackle, they decide to run, and now they're going to kick. Carter's been brought down. Harrigan's eyes were not on the scene, and the crowd here in front of us protested. Touch judge finally came on, and I can tell you, Tony Durkin, the crowd prompted that.
Yeah, I think the crowd certainly did have played some part in that decision, but it was pretty clear Fordo, wasn't it? I mean, the referee should have seen it.
Well, to his defence, he wasn't looking at the incident.
Let's have a look.
A bit of a dive too.
The foot also went out by Dave Gillespie, and Carter falling heavily to the ground. Gillespie will be somewhat fortunate here. It wasn't a blatant tripping action, but he certainly tripped over his foot.
To Bill Harrigan's credit, David, he was following the ball. It was that late, but the touch judge certainly was hesitant to come in. It was influenced by this big Penrith crowd, and correctly so that he should come in and report that. So Simmons with the tap restart. It'll go to Alexander, and he has to take on the defence of Thomas on his own.
He did, because no one wanted the ball outside him.
Penrith have had most of the ball in the second half. 46 possessions to 32 of Canterbury. Now it goes from Simmons to Alexander again. The beautiful pass. That's a superb bit of play, but it breaks down.
Fittler was just trying to get that last pass up. Alshin driven back into the in-goal area. Good stuff from Penrith.
I don't know what was in the half-time lemonade, Bill, but this Penrith side have certainly been committed in the second half.
Maybe they love running into the wind.
There's the attempted pass from Fittler. Just couldn't be handled there by Mortimer as he was tackled at the same time. That's a play-on situation. And then Bradley wraps up little Jason Alshin. Help from Fittler. Can't get out of the in-goal, but he's going to play the first knock-on. Now, this is interesting. I thought that was a play-on situation, clearly, but he's given advantage to Canterbury. He's playing the Penrith knock-on. Very generous.
It's 14 points to 2 to Canterbury. And we've had about 18 minutes of play in the second half. The Bulldogs led by 12 to 2 at half-time. A penalty goal, 3 from 3 for Terry Lamb, has kicked the Bulldogs further clear. Canterbury, after their second scrum win of this match, trying to work it out of the quarter line. We'll see the kick come into play very, very shortly. Harrigan refereeing the ruck, forcing Penrith back the 5. Lamb decides to run it. McGrady got the pass away to Robinson. He got it back into Lamb. Good support play. McGrady back again. This is going to be a superb try to Nissan. Scores against his old club, and that could well wrap up the ball game.
Well, Canterbury once again running on the tackle that appeared to be a kick downfield. Terry Lamb read it to perfection. Penrith stood off. Terry Lamb ran it, and then in doing that created the overlap. Let's have a look at it. Lamb dummies the kick and then fires the pass out. Ewan McGrady handles a couple of times, holds the ball up nicely, had McIndoe in trouble. Robinson then uses his strength to fire it back inside to Terry Lamb. I thought that pass could have been a touch forward, or was it this one here? McGrady up to Nissan. I thought that could have been forward, that one. Bill Harrigan didn't think so, and Glenn Nissan races it around to the plaudits of his teammates. They realise that's a winning try. 4 of them on the spot. Good support play. From ground level, Terry Lamb held it up beautifully. McGrady fires it out to Robinson after turning McIndoe inside out. McIndoe gets a hold of the big fellow. Back-up man, Terry Lamb. McGrady the pace. And then good work from Nissan. Let's have a look at this pass. Awkward angle, that one. I thought it was a half a metre forward, but then good work from Canterbury. Any one of about 4 or 5 players in backup support. Penrith had run out of numbers. That's an insult when you can run from that far out and put it down under the sticks.
Terry Lamb with the chance to convert from right in front. He makes it 4 from 4. And that is a tremendous lead by Canterbury-Bankstown at the halfway mark of this second half.
errors in this second half, and Canterbury won.
Bill, one of the key things here too is, of course, both those front rowers, ex-Canterbury players, and no doubt their old teammates have given them special attention.
Canterbury with a lead of 20 points to 2. There's Lamb putting it through on the first tackle. Going back over there is Smith. He's going to be the first one there. He'll be able to run it out. Cut back inside of Farah. McGrady comes at him. McGrady puts him over. And also a very heavy bump at him by Corcoran. A little bit of a mix-up on the play of the ball, and a penalty comes out of it as a kick through there by Canterbury.
Premature kicking, and a chance here. There it is, McGrady. The ball had not got onto the ground. Either player in the play of the ball movement can strike at the ball after it's on the ground.
So at this stage, the kick for touch by Mortimer, and there's a change to the Penrith side. Joe Vatanza, the player to come onto the field. He's number 24 out there. That's Fittler with it.
Penalties favouring Penrith in the match, 12-5, and they've had the last 6 straight penalties.
That's Roy Simmons. Alexander can't get away from Smith's tackle. Vandervoort cannot get away from Dean Pay. So Canterbury just keep wearing away. Alexander out to Cartwright. Cartwright goes to ground with it. Final tackle.
Terry Lamb done injured again, Bill.
Following out after it over there this time is Carter, but the ball will carry through to Alchin. He in turn sends it on to Glenn Nissen. Nissen running across field, but can't get away from the tackle of Smith. So the dummy half this time is Corcoran. Works his way up to some 8 metres short of the halfway mark. So the Canterbury lead remains at 20 points to 2.
That's Alchin that takes play over halfway. Dunn turning it back the blind side with Gillespie. Back for Dunn again. Canterbury move it now in great style. That's Thomas. Settles it again. Terry Lamb still receiving attention in back play. As McGrady, the elusive little halfback, did well, but he finally threw the pass straight over the sideline, and Nissen couldn't pick it up.
Through in hope there, Ewan McGrady just got the hands free, and hoped there that Nissen would be in position with enough pace to get to the ball. Not quite.
Well, hasn't he grabbed every opportunity since Kevin Moore got injured up in Townsville? We saw him in action, Billy, in that Nissen Sevens, and he looked the goods on that occasion. I wondered how he's going to come up to the hard grind of week-to-week Winfield Cup, but he's bobbed up with 3 tries in 3 games.
Yeah, well, he's adapted to it well, and of course he's got some pretty heavy customers around him to run off too.
So it will be Alexander to feed the scrum. 20 points to 2, the Bulldogs lead Penrith. It's Carter back to his more familiar role at 5'8". After Brooke Kennedy left the field and Green came on as a replacement. Now Alexander throws it wide out for Fittler. Fittler driven back in the strong Canterbury defence. And they're about 33 metres out from their own goal line, the Panthers, as Cartwright grabs 10 or 11 valuable yards, taking it up towards the halfway line. And it appears that Terry Lamb will be leaving the field, Tony.
Punch-up on.
Punch-up's on. I'll let David Wright describe it.
Well, we've got a ringside seat here. Certainly Cartwright was one of the players involved in it. I think Robinson as well. The referee has ignored it and play's gone on.
There's the kick in general play by Mortimer. It could be a good one. It's rolling, but Alchin comes out of the sunlight into the shadows to pick it up, and then he tries to get away from Carter. He did that well, but he runs straight into Joe Vatanza, the former Penrith player who went to the Gold Coast and came back to Penrith territory this year. I've been very, very impressed, David, the way that these 2 wingers from Canterbury, both ex-Penrith players, by the way, have gone looking for work today.
Yes, certainly Chris Anderson has got the side playing extremely well, and Phil Gould, who coached them last year, must be wondering, even though he knows exactly what this side's going to do, because they are so methodical, you really can't do too much about it.
Terry Lamb leaving the field. Tony Durkin, what's the latest from the sideline?
And Terry Lamb, who has a knee injury, has been replaced by number 19, the 5'8" from reserve grade, Matthew Fuller. And believe it or not, yet another product of St Gregory's Campbelltown. We saw 3 of them last night in action for Western Suburbs, and another one tonight.
So Matthew Fuller, as we look at big Andrew Farah. Yeah, what a great breeding ground that has been. A school, Sydney school, that has virtually called that Commonwealth Bank Cup their own over the years. And they just keep producing great talent in the Winfield Cup. So we've got just under 12 minutes of play remaining in the second half.
Well and truly beyond doubt with Canterbury leading by 20-2. So now they take it up.
Bill, looking at a side like Canterbury-Bankstown, as I said, they've been the real surprise packets of the Winfield Cup this year. Not a great deal was said of them leading into the 1990 Premiership, but they've done extremely well under new coach Chris Anderson. To be on the top of the Winfield Cup after 9 matches, having only lost 1 game and drawn 1, you have to have a very good defensive record, and that defensive record at the moment stands at conceding a miserly 8 points per game. So Canterbury back to their best in defence, and on average they've come up with 17 a game. So a very controlled performance by the Bulldogs, and if they can keep this team on the field, one of the problems Canterbury has always had has been depth. If they keep this team on the field, they'll well and truly be up there for the remainder of the season. I do think back to last year, it was when Jason Alchin was injured. He injured his knee in the 3rd round last year. That was basically the end of Canterbury. They've got key players, they can't afford to lose them.
So cutting back inside, McIndoe gets it away then to Bradley. There's another change coming up in the Canterbury side. What's happening, Tony?
Mitch Newton in jersey 40, who's been a fresh reserve for the Bulldogs today, is coming on for Darren Smith.
So he'll take a bit of he'll take him about 6 minutes to warm up, and then it'll be all over. However, he's there. That's Vitanza with it. Simmons trying to get around the blind side, but quickly pulled to the ground over there by Paul Dunn. It is the final tackle. So Vitanza swings it away to Alexander, trying to make up his mind what to do. He in turn sends it back to Tunks, back to Green. Green has a left foot shot upfield, and it's going to be taken nicely over there by Robinson, who runs up towards the halfway mark and eventually will be put down in the tackle of Carter. So Alchin keeps it going across field. McGrady, he'll be claimed on this occasion by Bradley. So back over to Smith to the halfway mark. Chris Mortimer, the tackler on that occasion. Jason Alchin. Back on to Corcoran. Smith has just left the field, and coming on is Mitch Newton. So here's a bit of loose stuff, and play on. It's Canterbury's ball.
Warning on the run there for Mortimer with a punching action.
So back it goes over there to Dunn. Dunn gets to the quarter line, almost stepped out of that last-ditch effort. Langmack sends it back to Alchin. Alchin in turn unloads it again. 5 minutes to go in this match, and at this stage the Canterbury lead is 20-2.
Yes, and they're trying to extend that as McGrady held the pass up for Langmack. Here's the big fellow Newton, got the pass away beautifully for Fuller. The 2 replacements combined, and Fuller is just a metre short of the try line. They'll get up quickly to play it. Canterbury line deep to the right. They move it to Alchin. There's the gap. Thomas, Farah through the dummy. They've got the numbers. Paul Dunn got it away, but he's turned over possession. McIndoe comes up with it for Penrith, and he's wrapped up by Andrew Farah.
One of the few occasions where Canterbury-Bankstown make a break that they don't normally go on with it. A try was on offer there, and the last pass going astray.
Well, the 2 replacement players there, Fuller and Newton, combined brilliantly down that blind side. Big Mitch Newton, he was the Canterbury under-21 player of the year last year. He's had a couple of first-grade games this year, and I'd like to see when he stops growing, David.
He's a big man, and he'll certainly suit this Canterbury style of play.
Well, he just missed a tackle there on Bradley. Corcoran came in to wrap him up, and that was with the help of Paul Dunn. Simmons. It's been a very, very unhappy day today for Penrith, and they can look back to the first half when they didn't play intelligently with that breeze behind them, and they allowed Canterbury to whip away to that 12-2 lead at half-time. And Canterbury have gone on with the job. In fact, they've had a try disallowed as well. The Canterbury Bulldogs, a try, David, that I thought was a fair one.
Yes, Canterbury have played extremely well today. Perhaps Penrith have not, and that's probably the key thing. Penrith have been frustrated by a very good defensive pattern of Canterbury, and they really have lacked any sort of spark in attack, Penrith. I can't really recall them threatening greatly the Canterbury side. and they'll look to Greg Alexander to be back in the near future to give them that spark.
You mentioned that great defensive record, but one thing that Chris Anderson has allowed them to do is also express themselves in attack, and they're starting to move again out of that side with Robinson. He's pushed out of the defence. McGrady backs up, kept it alive again. He's still going. McGrady over for his second try. Exactly what I was talking about. When the opportunity's on, this side will take it.
They've certainly got the players to do it. What a good buy this fellow Robinson has been. The pass out by Farah, quick hands. That's good hands by Farah. Look at Robinson with the push-off. McIndoe really didn't have an answer to him, and McGrady does well to take it on the fingertips, and then breaks a tackle, and then with brilliant and blinding acceleration, dashes away over that 10 metres for a good try.
So here it is again, the replay, and they just kept it going all right. There's McGrady, stepped out of one tackle, straight for that line. He knows where it is. A last-ditch effort by Cartwright, just not good enough.
Yes, he certainly does know where it is. He's played 3 games in the top grade. He's come up with 4 tries. He scored against the Gold Coast and Manly, and 2 here this afternoon. And he came into the side for the injured Kevin Moore, who broke his arm up in Townsville. And many people thought, David, that could have been a telling blow to the Canterbury side, because Kevin Moore had been in outstanding form for the Bulldogs. But what a replacement, and again, astute buying from a man by the name of Peter Moore, the father of Kevin.
Yes, there's the fellow that Penrith will be looking for, Greg Alexander, to come back. But Fordo, I agree, McGrady has played extremely well today. He certainly is allowed to play well with a hot defensive side like Canterbury-Bankstown, and he's got all the attacking skills to complement it.
Jamie Corcoran strikes it well. It's 24-2. Penrith guilty of 29 missed tackles. They have paid the price here today at Penrith Park. So play coming back to the halfway line. 4 great tries today by Canterbury. But when you look through the statistics, David, you see defensive efforts like Paul Dunn with 28 tackles, Joey Thomas with 30, Dean Pay with 25. They have done the job all over the park today.
Well, they have. They've been rock solid in the middle, and Penrith tried to crack them there with the 2 big men. They came up with no results, really, and Canterbury-Bankstown, with a very solid defensive performance early, have flexed their attacking muscles late, and they're worthy leaders of the Winfield Cup.
Well, David Gillespie can consider himself in the State of Origin side after that great performance at the Sydney Football Stadium. The 2 other players today, in Paul Dunn and Andrew Farah, haven't done their chances any harm here tonight, this afternoon here at Penrith Park. And time counting down here at Penrith Park with the Bulldogs. Plenty of bite in them this afternoon. They've scored 4 tries to 0. They led by 12-2 at half-time. And they've gone on to take it out by 24 points to 2. And you can see the elation with Paul Langmack and Jamie Corcoran, with David Gillespie and Paul Dunn. They know 80 minutes of a job well done here this afternoon at Penrith Park. They go on top of the Winfield Cup to edge ahead of the reigning premiers Canberra after 9 rounds of the 1990 premiership. We'll take a break from Penrith Park. When we return, we'll announce the Todd's Hi-Fi man of the match from this round 9 clash of the Winfield Cup. Back in just a moment.
Today to the tune of 24 points to 2. A man of match award coming up right now. Let's see what's in store for our winner today.
The Man of the Match Award is proudly brought to you by the State Bank in association with Todd's Hi-Fi. Today's winner will become the proud owner of a Pioneer compact disc player. For the high performance you want, remember Pioneer for your brand of music. Todd's Hi-Fi, the people for the best advice in sound and vision, are happy to present the State Bank Man of the Match Award.
A State Bank Man of the Match, the Canterbury centre, Andrew Farah. Andrew, looked a pretty comprehensive win on the scoreboard. How was it out in the middle?
Oh, it was still pretty hard. You know, we knew we'd get a hard game out here at Penrith, and, you know, it certainly was the case.
Andrew, Canterbury this season looked like a very happy and contented team.
Well, at the moment, while we're winning, we are, but, yeah, you know, we're pretty happy, and we're just sort of, you know, taking every game as it comes. I know a lot of people say that, but, you know, you've got to take each opposition on their merits, and we did that today and came up trumps.
Andrew Farah's playing like he would like to be in Melbourne next week.
Oh, yeah, if Sky Blue jumper goes my way, I'll take it with both ends.
Terrific performance today, Andrew, from the State Bank and Todd's Hi-Fi. A compact disc player. I'm sure you could put that to very good use.
I sure can. I'd just like to thank the sponsors and, say hi to everyone out there. Thanks.
Let's have a look at other matches in round 9 of this Winfield Cup. Back there on Friday night, of course, with the double header. We saw a win first up for the Broncos, 20-8 over Cronulla. Canberra, big winners over Manly, 29-12. Yesterday, a close one. Balmain getting away from St George, 16-14. And last night at the coast, West just too good for the Gold Coast. Matches played today. Here's how they worked out. A big win for Norths over East. They just can't get it going, 38-8. Souths finally breaking through for another win, 28 points to 12. Good for Illawarra to the tune of 22 points to 16. It means that our points table reads as follows. Canterbury back on top. They were off the top just momentarily after Canberra's win on Friday night. They're there on 15. Canberra on 14. Cronulla and Balmain are on 12. Penrith and Brisbane on 11. Norths at 10. Newcastle 9. 4 teams on 8. They're Manly, Illawarra, St George and Parramatta. West's on 7. East's to 5. Souths move up to 4. And finally the Gold Coast down the bottom there on 2. Let's have a look at upcoming football on Channel 10 here in Brisbane. 7:30 on Friday night. Of course, it's Friday night football, and that's from the Sydney Stadium. And Souths will be playing North. Souths and Norths at the Sydney Football Stadium, Friday night at 7:30. And our match of the day, the State Bank big game next Sunday night, will be back here at Penrith Park for the game between Penrith and East. And on that performance, East are going to have a lot of running around to do here next weekend. Anyway, that's about it for today. Hope you've enjoyed what has been a very big weekend of rugby league. We'll catch you again next Friday night for Rugby League Live. Until then, on behalf of all the team, Billy J. Smith bidding you a very good night.
Belt engine.
I declare open the Olympic Games of Melbourne.
Betty Cuthbert, Australia first.
The 56 Games was a coming of age for Australian sport, but it was also a coming of age for Melbourne, a city that has since provided the nation with so many magical sporting moments.
Set and match to Newcomb.
Victory and perhaps the ultimate success in VFL annals.
Good ball, but can't
And given out. England all out.
And Gunners Lane wins the cup from Kingston Town. It's there. Roger Davis wins the Australian.
So those moments continue tonight as Melbourne plays host to the New South Wales-Queensland Rugby League State of Origin clash. From the Olympic city of 56 to one who hopes to be the Olympic city again in 96, welcome to Melbourne.
We need this one. We've got to square it up.
I never thought that rugby league would come to Melbourne.
This is state of origin football at its best.
What do you think of that, George?
Good evening, I'm Rex Mossop. On behalf of Network 10 Australia, we welcome you